like, because this is the fucking dumbest shit I've ever done, man. I mean, I've done some dumb shit.
I'm still not
There it
used to
is.
this. All you guys don't hear this, but it goes and talks to you in this weird robot voice and says it
Yeah.
very loud into your ear. This meeting is about to be recorded. And this, I just wanted to bring this out to show you guys what my girlfriend's orgasm face looks like. And it sounds quite similar to that as well. I'm with Bobby Majors once again, and he just got vaccinated in Cambodia.
Yeah.
Now, when you got it, did you think that Bill Gates was going to put in a bunch of microscopic robots into you to make you vote Democratic?
Yeah. The whole argument over all that doesn't bother me. I was in the Army for 14 years, and we got vaccinated and we got shots we didn't even know what were at the time.
Experimental super soldier serum.
Always.
Yeah.
So it doesn't mean I made a joke after it was over to Tanner. I said, for some reason, I just want to do math right now, but besides that.
All right.
So I'm not worried, man. I'm 53. I'm like I said, I'll do shots, man. I like shots.
Are you having any effects right now? Like, how do you feel? Any different at all?
You might experience fever or whatever, but I'm just tired because it's humid as fuck. It's been cloudy all day and it's breezy, but it's like 80% humidity. So we were sitting out there outside waiting for 2.5, 3 hours in the humidity. So I'm just kind of wore out. But
you had to wait 2 or 3 hours for the shot outside.
Yeah. Dude, it's really. I mean, I talked to Tanner and how confused they are about administering the vaccine, especially to expats. Here, they got a nice system. If your landlord does it, he'll hook you up. And my landlord had a sign-up sheet. He took all our names right down to the province chief like 2 weeks ago, 3 weeks ago. We were told it wasn't going to happen for another 2 weeks. They came knocking on my door yesterday and they're like, yeah, tomorrow you get your shot, bro. And they gave me the paperwork. You walk over down the street and it's a school and they got 3 stations set up. You check in at the first one, you put your thumbprint on there and sign it. You get into
they took your thumbprint?
Yeah, in Thailand, whenever you do paperwork, legal paperwork, like every time I renew my visa and I sign legal paperwork, you got to put your thumbprint.
Not all your fingers, not all your fingers like the LAPD, but just the thumb.
No, thumb. You put your thumbprint down. Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah. Well, I mean, but you never crossed the border from Vietnam to Cambodia, have you?
Yeah, but yeah, we have once, and it was through that really fucked up border area where everyone gets ripped off.
Yeah, because they usually fingerprints you come in one way or the other, so they already got your fingerprints in Cambodia.
Yeah.
So I mean, it doesn't. I mean, the funny thing about that is, I used to take that bed train. The hotel train or hotel bus where you get a bed.
Yeah. You lay down on the hard fucking plastic thing. Yeah. It's good. It's not a bed, but it's something to lay down on. Yeah.
So I took one of those. And they park outside the border until it opens. And I got up and I was tired. And the immigration guy, and I always tell people, when you travel, those immigration guys are not happy to be there. So don't try to joke around with them. Just get through it, leave them alone. Well, anyhow, I was tired. And so I go in there and they're doing the handprint thing. And it was the Cambodian guy. And he kept saying, right. Well, I thought he was saying wide. So I kept spreading my hand out, wide.
Yeah.
And he's like, right. So I'm spreading my hand out. He fucking moves the camera, reaches over and fucking slaps. He says, right. Like, oh shit, I was rolling, man.
And people don't know, man, like those guys, those border dudes, they're hard motherfuckers. Like you get that government tough guy attitude from a lot of different places, even at every airport you go to, but especially those Cambo guys, man. Those are some
Yeah.
hard motherfuckers that live on that one. They
Oh yeah.
say that a lot of the child prostitution shit gets tracked through and from there. And so they're trying to
Right.
crack down on some nasty shit, right? But at the
Oh
same
yeah. Like,
time, all the weed that gets brought into Vietnam and Thailand comes from Cambodia.
mm-hmm.
I remember
It
going
does.
on you can go on tours there, just like, you know, like tour, not like music tours, but like touristy tours there. And the guy will take you into different rooms and there'll be stacks of weed. Like my drummer over in Bangkok, he's like as straight as can be, right? Like 50-odd-year-old Japanese businessman. So, you know, drugs are not his thing. So he goes on one of these little tours. They bring him to a room stacked with weed. And, you know, it's shit weed, but it blew his mind, right? So
Yeah.
so it's the same time, it's this weird double standard over in Cambo. But I'm
Yeah.
glad you got vaccinated. Let's get back to the vaccination thing. And I'm glad that no microscopic robots made you vote Democratic like so many people are saying.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And
I personally don't vote. How about you? Do you?
No, I served my country for 14 years, so I think
Yeah.
that's enough, man.
So let's
Yeah,
talk about that.
I-
That's really interesting. Getting into the army
Yeah.
and stuff. Tell me, tell me about the army.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, just go.
I wasn't going to ever join the army. You know, I wanted to be a musician.
Okay.
But at 19 years old, I was into some really bad shit. A lot of meth, a lot of coke, a lot of acid, a lot of robbing.
It sounds like
things.
Okay. Kid
I
stuff.
was living. I was living a dream. I was living a dream, you know.
Yeah.
And,
You being gangsta and shit. Okay. And that's in and that's in Cali.
San Diego.
All right.
Yeah, right. And so the 80s and towards the end of the 80s. And so one night I was sitting on the corner of my street by myself and I started thinking, you know, something told me, I was like, dude, you're going to go to jail soon. You know, you're going to jail. And I was at the time, I was a 170-pound weakling, you know, and I was just fucked up on meth all the time. So I was skinny and I was like, I would not survive in jail. And so I joined the army and everyone said I wouldn't make it. And
so it was a personal choice to join the army?
I joined the army to save myself. Yeah.
Okay. So that wasn't like you got busted and you got told you could either go to jail or the army. Okay. So there you go. So that's cool.
Yeah. Something in my gut told me it was time to leave or things bad were going to happen.
Now, if I ran the army and this 19-year-old meth head came up to me and said, give me a gun, I want to learn how to use it in the army,
right,
I would be a little bit hesitant. But how were they with you?
That they were they could see through my lies. They knew.
Yeah.
They knew. So
okay.
So you got to imagine the first 2-3 weeks of the 8-week basic, because I was in training for almost a year for the specialties that I did. But the
what were those?
8 weeks, well, I was supposed to be a mechanic, but
okay.
I don't know how to work on shit. So they trained me for 5 months in Maryland on how to be a diesel mechanic. And I finished at the top of my class, even though I didn't know anything about mechanics. And then they sent me to another school where I ran records, and that was another month long. So after 2 months in New Jersey, then 5 months 6 months in Aberdeen. So we're looking at, you know, pretty much 10 months of training before. I mean, most of the guys I went to basic with already graduated their schools, went home for 14 days, seen their family, and were off to work and shit. I was still training. And then I had some specialty skills, like my shooting was pretty on target when I was younger. You know, I used to have really good vision. And so that's another thing that I worked on a lot. And so anyhow, in basic, the first 2-3 weeks is when you're detoxing, you know, because you can't smoke cigarettes.
So you went straight from the street into the army. You didn't give yourself any downtime. Okay.
I signed up.
In hindsight, was that kind of stupid?
Absolutely.
Okay.
I tell people today, when I can judge character, I turned out to be a good field soldier. I was not a good spit shine soldier. So I got in a lot of trouble when we didn't have things actually out in the field to do. Like I did great in combat. I did terrible getting ready for parades and inspections and shit. I was
Okay.
that kind of guy.
That's
So
cool.
I got in a lot of trouble. I drank a lot. I mean, our habits, like, okay, so anyhow, back to the basic. So my first 2 weeks there, I was really like fucking hardcore doing everything. And what I didn't know was is because I was detoxing off of meth and acid and everything. And I got in trouble during an inspection. I got in trouble because an armpit hair was on my soap. And so the drill instructor tells me, go down to my office and you're going to do 100 fucking jumping jacks or whatever. And he calls me in his office. He goes, you know, all the other drill instructors here think you're hardcore and you're a badass soldier. I'm like, I don't know. You know, I'm scared shitless. This is the first time away from home and shit. And he goes, I know the truth. It's like, you're a fucking drug addict, man. And I'm just standing there like, holy fuck. He goes, I was the same. He was an E6. He goes, I was the same way. And it was the same reason. He goes, you can lie to them, but I know the truth. You're a fucking drug addict, dude. And I was like, motherfucker, man. Yeah. So he knew right away. But
so were there drugs in the Army?
Oh God, yeah, man. We found out, like, you know, soldiers aren't stupid. We find out in the 80s, all they tested for was marijuana and cocaine. So we did a lot of acid my first couple years in the Army. You could get it right off base. I was at Fort Campbell.
Yeah, and that shit's out of your system pretty quickly too, anyways.
The only way they can test for it is spinal tap. They ain't gonna waste their money on that. They piss test you, you know. So so the first year and a half, I was taking a chance, and I'd get high once in a while and shit like that. And then about a year and a half into being in the Army and actually working and doing my job and understanding what we call play the game, you know, play the game. And I started picking up on, I was like, you know what? I only got like 3 years left of this. And I mean, I could get promoted, I could do shit. And if I start acting right and quit being an asshole all the time, you know? So I quit doing drugs and I just drank beer and I became a soldier. And the soldier part was fun because what we did is we played cards until 3 in the morning and drink a lot of beer. And then at 6 in the morning, we run 4 miles and we puke on each other.
Okay, so when that happened, right? So were you deployed at that point?
Okay.
When you were doing
my first deployment was the Gulf War, 1991.
And how long after basic training was that?
3 years.
So 3 years after you were fully trained, you were deployed into war. That's a good amount of time. Okay.
Yeah. And I built up a lot of respect from my platoon sergeant and my first sergeant after I got over the I'm an asshole phase.
Yeah.
And actually started doing my job. And so I got away with a lot of shit that other soldiers.
And so it's like, you know, we see things like Full Metal Jacket, right? So we're not aware of the amount of time that goes by. Like 1 minute the guy's in basic training, and then the next he's like just stuck out in the middle of the field and people are shooting at him.
Yeah.
So is that 3 years for everybody that usually goes through training?
It can vary. When I went back in, let's see, I got divorced in 2005 and I moved back to California. In 2006, I joined the Army National Guard, and I had been out of the Army for a long time, and they gave me my rank back and everything. We met one weekend a month.
So you've been in twice.
Right. And so the second time I was with the National Guard in California, and I was not even in a year. I still hadn't even gotten into shape to where I could pass a PT test. And they deployed me to the border to work with the Border Patrol during whatever. And then exactly a year to the day I signed to be in the National Guard, they sent me on a 13-month tour to Iraq.
Fuck, dude.
Yeah.
Let's just dive right into it. Iraq. I know this is not really a comedy episode, but this is fascinating stuff, and I think people are enjoying this, right? So let's talk about Iraq, man. let's
is a lot of funny going on in Iraq.
let's like, before we get all fucking nasty and shit about it, how about you tell me what's one of the fun parts of being in Iraq? Is there anything positive and fun that you had? Any good times?
Absolutely.
Tell me a good time story about Iraq.
If you compare the Gulf War to where we were out in the middle of nowhere and fighting our way home, to going to Iraq in 2007 where they had bases set up everywhere and places to eat.
Yeah.
You literally gained weight in Iraq the second time because the food was so goddamn good. You could eat
really
pretty much 5 meals a day. Yeah.
What are you eating there?
Dude, what do you want, man? I mean, I'm telling you,
roast beef.
The week before I got to Baghdad, they blew up our Burger King.
You had a Burger King on the army base in Iraq, so you can get a double Whopper any fucking day in Iraq. You could.
We had Taco Bell.
All right.
Popeyes, Cinnabon, and we had a Burger King. They blew that up.
See, okay. So let's tell me. Okay, let's get into this a little bit more. Okay, so bombing the Burger King, was that a suicide bombing?
No, they just they're. I have no animosity towards Arabs that we fought. I respected them, and if you're going to be a true soldier, you got to respect your enemy. And they were very efficient. They're very efficient.
So how did they bomb the Burger King? Like through the drive-through? What they fucking do?
No, they just sit up. They just pull up outside the perimeter somewhere in a Toyota. They pull off a tarp and they just randomly launch rockets.
So it's got like those like box rockets, those cheap shit box rockets, right?
Yeah,
and there's like, and they were like, okay, like, oh, you know what we're going to do, those fucking Americans in our country, right? And let's get to the base and let's bomb their fucking Burger King.
Oh, dude,
no Whopper for you.
Right? The best thing, the funniest thing that ever happened to us, and we were absolutely lost. Okay, so my team, we only worked at night. So our missions always started around 8, 9 o'clock at night and went until anywhere from 3 in the morning till 7 in the morning. We had to be back on base before the sun came up. That was just part of our operation plan. So during the daytime, we had internet. You know, you paid money. We had internet. We literally we had 2 men hooches, and me and my buddy who lived across from me, we would talk to each other on the internet. Like, hey, what are you doing? Nothing. Want to smoke a cigarette? Yeah, meet you outside in 5 minutes. You know, well, the funniest thing happened was about a month in, we were all getting really into our mission, what to do on our downtime, where the gym was, blah, blah, blah. And we had this hellacious mortar attack, and they blew up our satellite dish.
Oh, shit.
So for 2 weeks, we didn't have Wi-Fi. And we literally didn't know what to do. We would sit outside and stare at each other like, what are we supposed to do?
Is this a typical Arab battle tactic? Because like the 2 stories you've told me so far, of the 2, it's been let's bomb their Burger King and their Wi-Fi.
The Wi-Fi was an accident. I'm pretty sure the Burger King. Well, they had 2 chow halls where I was at. And one got hit all the time. And the one I went to didn't. And one time a guy's like, hey, let's go check out that other chow hall and see if it tastes good. I'm like, are you fucking kidding? They got a beat on that motherfucker. It's been hit 3 times since we've been here, you know? And so sometimes they know where they're going. And then sometimes they're just hoping that they hit something, you know? So when I was there, they got lucky. They blew up the Burger King and they blew up our satellite, man, you know? And
now did anyone die on those 2 attacks?
The one of my friends almost bought it on one of the mortar attacks. Actually, one of my buddies was on guard duty on the perimeter when that mortar attack happened. And he was actually sitting on the porta potty taking a shit when the rounds were dropping around him. So that was kind of funny.
So he was fine.
He came flying out the fucking toilet with his pants to his knees, like, what the fuck's going on here? But yeah, he's all right, man.
That's cool.
we didn't lose anybody in my unit. There were some weird accidents. I wouldn't go to the gym because a guy working out one time got killed by a stray bullet
That's
out of
fucked.
nowhere. And
Yeah,
to me, I'm like, that's off limits. I'm not going there, you know. So,
yeah,
but it's just what it is, you know. I mean, you gotta that people talk to me all the time, and I don't care about talking about it. What my guys, I was in charge of guys, and they still talk to me, and I've been around the military a lot, and I have a lot of experience. Like I've jumped out of helicopters, I've been in 2 combat tours, I've done crazy shit. And some guys only went on 1 combat tour, and that was with me. And when they're sitting around talking to other guys that say they're hardcore soldiers, my friends will talk. Hey, I was talking to this guy. He said this, and this. I'll be like, yeah, well, that unit wasn't even in Iraq ever, so he's lying to you. I know. So,
yeah.
and when someone tells you, oh, I wasn't scared when I was there, bullshit. You could have been an accountant and never left the wire. The minute you touch down there, if you're not scared, there's something wrong with you, man. Because I mean,
Yeah.
it's scary, dude.
Yeah, of course. Like Burger
Yeah.
King aside, it's a
Yeah.
very real, more real than you want it to be experience. I would imagine so,
Yeah.
man.
So
Yeah.
during the Gulf War, so we talk about the dude on the toilet and public urination and how naive of a person I was when I joined the Army.
Sure.
I'm one of those guys that didn't really know women pooped and pissed until I was older. Never crossed my mind that women shit and piss. It's never crossed my mind.
Yeah.
So in 91, after we finished up the war that lasted like 4 days, month and a half of bombing, which was amazing to watch. I used to sit there and watch it all night. And then 4 days of groundwork, they finally decided to pull out, and they assigned me to this field medical unit to go back from Iraq to Saudi Arabia. And my job was, with my record, always the last truck, just follow them across the border, turn around and go back and get into more shenanigans, whatever. So anyhow, we're rolling down this road, and it's about an 8-hour, 9-hour trip. So there's going to be times where you stop in the desert to relax. Soldiers get tired driving, so you don't want them to kill themselves and shit. So every time we pull over, the girl in front of me driving the ambulance would get out and walk behind her truck, squat and piss right in front of me.
That's kind of cool.
And I'm just like,
all right.
Well, for me, this was my first experience with this. So I was just like, and I had a guy from Roanoke, Virginia named Zach, who was always either sleeping or listening to Guns N' Roses, not really paying attention to much, which is fine. He wasn't really worth anything. Well, he was sleeping and he didn't see it. And I'm just like sitting there. I'm like, what does she not see my big ass truck and me sitting here? That she's just gonna piss in front of me?
Just doesn't care.
I let him. But then we drive about 2 hours, and it comes to another stop, and she does the same thing. And I'm just like, what the fuck? And then we end up staying longer, and it turns out that some French guy triggered a mine a little bit up the road and blew his legs off.
Mm-hmm.
And
sad.
So we had to wait, and they airlifted him out, and they gave us all clear, and we started rolling. So we're rolling, and I'm still kind of like traumatized. Now I'm traumatized over landmines, and I'm traumatized because this girl seems to not see my big giant truck as she's looking at me pissing, So
now was she a what you would call a classically beauty girl, or was she?
She was an Army 6.
An Army 6.
An Army 6.
So in civilian terms, from 1 to 10,
a 4.
A 4. Okay, cool. How many beers? How many beers would that take so that you could enjoy watching an Army 6 take a pee in front of you?
Oh yeah, that'd be about 8 beers and maybe a Quaalude.
Cool.
But,
anyways, get back to it though, please.
So then we get to the final time. Okay, we already had the landmine scare. I'm kind of tripping on this girl. We pull over. I see the girl getting out of her truck, and she comes walking back, and I know what she's gonna do, so I just couldn't take it no more. I jumped out of my truck and I ran to the back to go take a piss, you know. And so I'm sitting there taking a piss, and all of a sudden the guy that's been sleeping the whole time comes running back there, and he's all scared. He's like, "What the fuck, dude? Is there a landmine? What the hell?" I was like, "No, bro." I was like, "Just can't handle watching this girl pee anymore, bro. It's just making me sick." And he's like, "What?" And I was like, "You've been sleeping the whole time. This chick constantly pisses in front of me. I can't take it no more, man."
And this is in the.
yeah.
I'm sorry, I lost track. So is this in the Gulf?
Yeah, 1991 during the
Okay.
war, man. Yeah.
Okay, and
Yeah.
it's in the Gulf. All right, and then did she ever have to poop?
Yeah, God, I hope not. Well, not in
okay.
front of me.
All right, so
Yeah.
it's just peas, and I guess she was drinking tea or coffee the entire time. How many
Probably.
how many other people were driving with you?
There was, out of the convoy, usually is about anywhere from, it could be anywhere from 10 to 40.
So
trucks
she's just putting on a show.
Yeah, I think so, man. She was
Yeah.
going home. She was happy, and like there's a sign on the door on the exit. There'll be a sign on the door in Kuwait when you're at the airport when you catch your flight back to the U.S. says, "Enjoy, ladies. You go from being a 9 to a 4 in the next 24 hours." Yeah.
Nice.
And then we
that's pretty nasty.
for married guys and guys that had real tight girlfriends were like, "Yeah, dude, you're going home. You're going home in 6 months. You're gonna find your wife the way you left her." And they're like, "Well, how's that?" We're like, "Freshly fucked."
So that's how you relieve yourself when you're taking a pee. Now we watched. My only understanding of war in general comes from Hollywood movies, and obviously those are not accurate at all, I would imagine. So when you need to jerk off, where do you do that?
Yeah, that's
Come on.
I had a friend.
Come on. Where do you got to do that? Come on. It's not in your.
The guy, you got a 2-man hooch, and you got like a wall like this between you and your buddy. You just do it in your fucking room, man.
Like that. No, that's okay, right? That's good. I forgot what movie it was, or if it was a book and someone told me about it. But there was a platoon, and they were walking through like a lake area, like a water filled area, and they were just jerking off in it.
Yeah.
Is that accurate at all? Or like would that really happen?
I know there's a lot of jerking off going on, yeah. But
it's got to be, right? There's
the guys would, like, we had a laundry point, and a lot of the expats there, which are usually Filipinos that do all the labor in those rich countries like that, they ran the laundry, and my guy always bragged about how he jerked off into his socks, and he would go. No, he would do it like theatrically. He would open up his bag and he'd start counting. He'd be like, "Okay, so here's one underwear." Then he'd pull out a sock and he'd start ripping apart. He'd be like,
"Yeah, you're gonna get it open." Yeah.
He's like, "That was a good one that night." He's like, "There's one side, and he would do it theatrically in front of them, and everybody were just like, "Dude,
the Kraft Singles grilled cheese sandwich technique, right?" Like, that is something right there, man.
Yeah. So you get that, and then you get the other side. And like I say, I'm not judging, not all of them. I've met some very tough military women that I would fight with before some men, but there are also the other extreme, and that's females that go there, get scared, and there's men that do it too. They try to find any excuse out of the war zone they can, and women will actually try to get pregnant, and we had, in my battalion, we had the record for like the most missions, the most this, the most that, and also the most cases of syphilis or gonorrhea, one or the other.
Cool. That's a badge of honor. That should be a fucking medal.
And that right there was like 100 guys had it, but only 3 women did.
Okay. So are you allowed to just quit and go home?
Fuck no.
No,
No.
you're not allowed. So
No.
it's like once you're in, you're in. You can't just be like, no, I changed my mind. I'm done. I'm going home.
Like in the 80s, you know, you could walk in and say you're gay, and then they would kick you out in those days, but nowadays they don't care. My
But like,
buddy,
let's say like you're a young dude. It's your first tour in there. You go and do it. You get freaked out. You see someone's head get blown off or something, and you're like, okay,
right?
that's it. I'm done. I want to go home. Fuck this shit. Can you do that?
No,
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 you're just
no.
in. So you're like, so once you sign, you're fucking in. And if you say no and you just flip out, what happens to you?
Well, that's a good question, and that happens. Like I said, I'm in charge. I'm in charge of 15 guys, 20 guys, and it's my job to take care of these guys, you know.
Yeah,
And
yeah,
that's one of the things we got to look at now. This kid, his roommate was his best friend, and when his roommate went home on leave, fucked that guy's wife and told him about it,
yeah. Oh fuck.
and then came back and told everybody about it. And so
Okay.
so
Right on.
that's already like a problem, okay? And
Yeah, no shit. Right.
and then he finds out like we're supposed to have a day off, and so everybody hangs out in my hooch during the day off because me and my roommate would provide comic relief, have fun, play music and shit like that. And our lieutenant comes up to, he goes, our day off is canceled. We got to go to Solder City and take food to the troops there because Al Sadr is not letting anyone in. And this was like the most dangerous place in Baghdad, okay? And the kid who was already halfway through a meltdown because his best friend's fucking his wife,
Yeah.
heard the word Solder City and about kicked my door off its hinges. We're gonna fucking die. He starts just kicking and punching and throwing shit. And me and my buddy are looking at each other. I'm like, yeah, you're not going on any more missions, bro. I was like, I'm gonna have you go work at the motor pool and just change.
Okay,
oil.
so they just transfer you.
I get rid of you. Yeah, I mean, you can't come with me with a loaded weapon right now, man. You
No.
can go. And then it's easy. I got, like I said, I build trust with my leaders. And I
Right.
just go sit down and talk to him. I'd be like, hey, look, this is what's going on. You know,
Yeah.
his wife's fucking his best friend. He's
Right.
about to lose his mind. I'm not going to give him ammunition. I'm definitely not giving him a machine gun. I was like,
No.
and he's not stable enough to go out. I was like, his time outside the wire is over. And so we found him, you know, busy work for 2 months until we rotated out back to the world, you know. But that's my job. A good leader looks for these things. Sometimes you can't help it. If you don't have enough guys, he's going to have to go. We happen to be lucky that we had extra guys that I can get rid of him, and it probably saved his life and others, you know. So
Oh, for sure, for sure. You have one guy in there. You all depend on each other 100% in that situation. Yeah, that's fucked up though.
Yeah, and you know, a lot of guys didn't like me, and there was this one kid when we were at Camp Roberts training up. He hated me, and I didn't care. And his dad was a veteran, and he's sitting there talking to his dad on the phone, and he's like, this fucking sergeant is an asshole. And I could hear him. I'm like, whatever. And his dad says, look at his right arm. And he goes, yeah. And he goes, does he have a patch on it? He goes, yeah. And he goes, what does it look like? He says airborne, and it has an eagle. He goes, so 101st. He goes, yeah, he was with the 101st. He goes, and that guy's been to combat with the 101st. And you're going to tell me you've never been to war before that you're not going to listen to what that guy says. He's like, shut your fucking mouth and listen to what that sergeant tells you to do to come home alive, you know? And his dad told him that, you know? And like, he's like, nobody cares if you like him, just listen to him. And I'm like, I've been telling you that the whole time. I don't care if you like me. We're not hanging out after this is over. You know?
So how many years altogether were you in there?
I did 11 years. 12 years. I'm credited for 14 years.
Yeah.
So I don't know how that works. I know maybe 6 or 7 of them were active, and then some of them were just playing the one weekend. I don't know.
When you were all done with all that, did they take care of you? Like
God, no.
So
I
that's
wanted to,
really interesting. So you put your in of those 14 years, how much of it did you spend in possible danger?
yeah, I mean, I almost got run over by a tank. We almost got blown up once.
So I mean, like in total of
A
time,
re-
like for your being deployed in this place and this place and this place, how
all
long is it?
together, all together, I probably spent maybe, I would say all together, maybe a total of a year in danger,
Of full
12
danger?
months,
Yeah. Okay.
12 months of, 12 months of being places that anything could happen and you're
And
not
it's
sure.
not like a cop pension or anything like that where you just
No, what
get
I
paid out.
got, mine actually has nothing to do with the military. Mine has to do with veteran affairs, and it's because I got banged up so much. Like I got PTSD, from all the
14 years will
close
do it.
calls,
Yeah, definitely.
all the close calls and shit. And so I get a small little bit of money from the veterans. But the Army, I was gonna do 6 more years, and that would have gave me 20. And then when I turned 65, I would have got a pension from California. But because I couldn't do push-ups and run anymore because my knees are all fucked up, they wouldn't let me re-enlist. So they just kind of set you aside, and
That's kind of fucked
hey, look,
up.
man, it is,
That's kind of from one
but
of the
us,
most powerful country, from one of the most powerful militarized countries,
yeah,
being a veteran, giving 14 years of your life to your country, you are not being compensated the same way that a traffic cop gets compensated after 20 years of service to their city.
right.
That's
Right.
interesting.
Interesting.
Yeah.
And it's fine. You won't hear me complain. Like I said, I'm a half full guy, and I mean,
Well, then you got your nice life now. You're in the tropics. You're having a good time. You're going to be an English teacher in China.
maybe.
You got half of
Well,
your vaccine. I got none of mine yet. Right? You're in the butthole of Asia. I'm supposed to be in this metropolis area of Asia, but don't have fuck all. So that you're doing pretty good actually right now, man.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. The only
yeah.
problem I have is this. I don't have no friends in Cambodia. But besides that, I mean, I'm
Yeah, yeah,
peachy.
yeah. It's all
I
good. Well,
mean,
you can't walk around really saying like I was in the military for 14 years and I had a machine gun, right? Like people don't take
right?
kindly to
Yeah.
that
Well,
over there, right?
we used to fuck. They when you got out, they make you go to job placement things like that and shit. And when you get out, you don't want to work. You want unemployment. You just spent 4 years working, 15-hour days, 8 days a week, shit like that. And the last thing you want is to go out of the Army and into a job. You just want the unemployment. Give me my unemployment. Let me get drunk. Well, they make you go to food. I mean, job services. And so the guy, well, what are you good at? And you fuck with him. I
Well,
killed
I could.
about 8 guys. And
Yeah, that's not good, right? I could imagine, just like you said earlier, if you're an accountant,
yeah,
okay, yeah, you could get another accounting job, being like, I was working in as an accountant in the Army, and now I'm looking for a new one, right? That's okay, that's all right,
yeah,
right? But
yeah. But if you're,
doing what you were doing, fuck no, dude. Like, fuck it. Honestly,
yeah,
too, can you put that on your resume even?
what I know, I don't.
For applying for a
There's a lot
teaching
of
job, like, hello, I want to teach your 7-year-old children how to speak
yeah,
English. By the way, I spent 14 years of my life carrying a gun around shooting guys.
yeah,
Right?
right, right, yeah.
Hey,
Learning how to put maximum damage on shoot, kill, and break shit. But yeah,
yeah. I
yeah,
can blow
you
up
know,
a
the,
tank. Can I teach your
yeah.
kids about fractions? Like,
Yeah, when I almost got ran over by that tank, it was kind of funny. And the stupid tanker busted up his. It was an M1 tank, and he busted up his the fucking fender on it. And I went down. I was like, "What the fuck?" It scared the shit out of me. I'm like, "What the fuck?" And he gets out and he's looking at his fender. It's all bent. And he's like, "Yeah, yo, man, are you gonna report me for this?" I'm like, "Hell no." I was like, "That ain't my tank because like it belongs to the taxpayer." I'm like, "Get the hell out of here, man." He's like, "All right,
yeah.
thanks, bro." And he took off. I was like, "Fuck it, man." I was like, "We break shit all the time. It's not
Right.
ours."
Yeah. So let's get back to drugs in the army. Were you ever on drugs? Now you don't have to, you don't have to answer this if it's fucked up, and I can cut whatever whatever would
I'll
get
be
you in serious
honest.
trouble. Yeah. Were you ever on drugs of any kind when you were deployed and in combat?
Yeah, one time, my buddy E5 of mine, Sergeant Jones, he was from San Diego too, and he had a friend of his mail him weed while we were in Saudi Arabia, and this was during the prep time. We weren't actually during it. We weren't in combat. We were doing mostly guard duty, prepping, a lot of training and shit like
Okay.
that. And he got a hold of a couple joints, and we sat in my truck one night, and uh,
Just
I
got
took
stoned.
took about 3 points off that shit. And yeah, word to the wise, man, being high in a war zone ain't as cool as it sounds.
Yeah. So to imagine that got pretty scary, because like weed, usually the
Makes you
effect of
paranoid.
weed is either complete relaxation and your brain goes off, or the opposite happens and you become incredibly paranoid with what is
Paranoia,
going.
bro.
Yeah, so that's what happened to you. Yeah, okay. So I would imagine that was very uncomfortable.
Yeah, yeah.
Shit,
The
we're
guy
gonna
was,
fucking die. Oh shit, yeah.
it was like yin and yang. He was
Yeah.
having a good time.
Yeah.
I was a guy that was outside the wire who walks by like once a week with an AK-47. I always got called out there to go check on him. And so when I got high, I started thinking, oh, this is that night that fucker's gonna shoot at us,
Yeah,
and
yeah,
he's
that's
over
no
there.
good. And he just
Yeah,
doesn't
he's
give a
over
fuck.
there.
He's like, I don't care. They shoot me. I don't give a fuck.
Yeah, yeah, he's over there high. He's like, dude, you remember when we used to hang out at the beach in Mission? And oh, I love that place. And I'm just like, man, that guy's coming for us, bro.
What does R2D2 stand for?
Right, right. So,
Yeah,
man,
it affects
yeah.
people different ways, man. Like, it's that's just how what weed is. That's what most drugs are and stuff, right? So
Oh
some
yeah,
people like to drink, and they're fine. They become happy people, and some people drink and they become depressed or angry. It's
yeah,
quite
yeah,
strange.
yeah.
But those things can be used as a tool, and I would imagine that in war, it could be a very useful tool if you're a very angry drunk.
Yeah,
If you still have the
well,
motor skills,
yeah. And they changed it. It's not like Vietnam. They could drink a lot, and then a lot of guys got addicted to heroin over there. During those years. But
yeah.
nowadays you're technically not allowed to have alcohol when you're deployed, but there's a black market there in the Middle East, and so we could get a hold of some like Johnny Walker Red.
But you're not on every day though, right? You get like a day of leave once in a while, right?
No. If you wanted R&R, you had to be there a certain amount of time, and then you had to request it. Like guys would ask me if they can go, and where they would go would be Qatar. And even if you went, like I never went, but from what I heard was you go and it's kind of relaxing, but the beers were like fucking $12 a piece, and you're only allowed 2 a day, but you only could spend 3 days there. So
Yeah,
it really
fuck it.
wasn't
You
worth it.
may as well stay.
It's better to go to the Ugandans. The Ugandans had kind of the Ugandan security force had the black market under control. You could go to them guys and they can get you, whiskey, real whiskey for a nice price. And I never bought any. All I know is I'd go on a mission and I'd come home, and on the days that my roommate was off, when I came home at 6 in the morning, there'd be like half a can of fucking vodka or whiskey sitting on my bed and a little note saying, welcome back, bro, enjoy. And so 6 in the morning, I'd be sipping some vodka and relaxing. But yeah.
That's a good time. That's a good time. Okay.
Yeah, it was, and we had our ups and downs, bro. We were part of one of the worst highways. Route Irish, when we were there, was the worst highway to be on, and we had to travel down that thing every day for damn near 6 months. And when we came back, my whole unit had fucking just shell shocked, bro. I mean, we went through so much stress. Like I was, even to this day, I still talk to some of my guys to make sure they're okay. It took them 2 years for one guy to ask me, well, hey Bob, are you okay? Because like
Yeah.
we're
No,
all fucking
no, I'm fucking
gotta be
not.
fucked up. And
Yeah.
that's what I tell them. I'm like, no one's ever asked, but no, I'm not, you know. And like,
Yeah.
but hey, at least
Yeah.
someone asked, you know. But yeah, so we're on Route Irish, and like I said, I have nothing but respect for the enemy. They came out with some creative shit, and if you don't think like they do, then you're not. Then I wouldn't be here today, you know. So
Yeah.
you gotta respect your enemy.
Yeah.
They respected us. Like, you know, if you watch Apocalypse Now, I took a lot of like bullshit psychological warfare from war movies. Apocalypse Now, when coming in the air cab and they're
Dun, dun, dun,
playing Bond,
dun, 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 dun,
what we
yeah.
did, what we did was we attached a mic to my Humvee with the 50 cal machine gun,
Yeah.
and we blasted like Slipknot and Iron Maiden and shit like that, like 3 o'clock in the morning, rolling through Baghdad playing
Yeah.
fucking Ozzy Osbourne and shit, and just
Yeah.
scaring the hell out of them. They won't fight you, man. You know, if you go out there acting, they're about honor, and if you go out there looking like you want to fight, they
Yeah.
respect that, and
Yeah.
they won't mess
If
with
you're the
you.
craziest motherfucker there, right? Like, no one wants
And
to die. Well, some
yeah,
people want to
but
die, right? But like for the most part, no one wants to really, really fucking
right,
do that unless they absolutely have to. It's the
right.
same with any
So
civilized person too, right? And we have this strange, villainizing of other people, especially during war and stuff, as we see
yeah,
it, being like they're like
and,
animals. They're the really bad guys and everything. They're gonna do anything they can to kill you. When in reality,
yeah,
but a good chunk of them, I'd say 98% of them, and that's just a number I'm pulling out of my ass, but I'd say 98% of them are probably civilized, normal guys, just like you and me, who don't want to die. And they
well, you
don't
know,
really want to fight. They're just there because they
you,
have to.
you sit there and talk to the World War II veterans. You know, they did some great things. Vietnam veterans too. You know, I know a lot of those guys, and we share the same ideas. Like, you know, if we weren't enemies, we probably would have the same interests. You know,
Yeah.
raise our
Yeah.
families. You know, come over for fucking dinner. You know, we
Sleep in
probably
on weekends, that's all he
we
wants to do.
yeah
He wants to eat some food and fuck his wife and have a couple of
yeah
beers and like watch
yeah.
whatever the fuck he watches. Like that's all he wants to do. We're all
That's
still
all in
human
most cases.
beings.
Yeah, and you know,
Yeah.
and so and that's just. I mean, we're
But at the same time, you still get the fucking nut job here and there.
yeah
No,
yeah.
no matters whose side it is, right? You always get one of those, the nut job. There you go.
Fun fact was yeah, that was my job. I was always the last truck, and my job, part of it was to try and draw fire. So we would
That,
so we
that
would
was
lay off
you.
we
You
would
were
lay off we would lay off the convoy maybe 500-600 meters, and then we'd go to complete blackout.
so you
Like
are
put on
Operation Human Shield.
boom.
There
And
you
we
go.
did it on
All
purpose.
right.
We did it on purpose to try to dog guys out, you know, and sometimes it worked, sometimes it didn't, but you could see the shadows and you could see the guys out there, and I would huck like bottles of piss at them to dare them. And but the guy in the front, he always gave the guys at the guard, the Iraqi guys, like free water and free food. So when we were rotating out, we were training this unit from Mississippi, and they're all talking to the guy up front, and they're like, "Hey, you know, what about, you know, treating people like shit and all this other crap, and you know, what about that?" And they're like, "Oh, you're talking to the wrong guy. We're nice to everybody. You want to go down there and talk to Bob at the last truck. He's an asshole to everybody, man. He'll teach you about that
So when
stuff."
you're
I'm like,
saying
yeah,
drawing fire, so like fucking, there's like a convoy of you guys. I don't know if that's the right term, right? Like what's the like
right, right.
okay, convoy
Convoy,
you okay, convoy you guys drive and you're the last truck on the back here, right? And
right.
so you are trying to draw fire from to keep everybody else safe?
but what we're trying to do, because our job is to protect goods and food and cargo and shit like that. We're like an escort mission.
Okay.
And what we would do is there'd be 2 gun trucks in the back, and we were always the last one, and I was always facing back. So me and my buddy Delgado, he's my driver. He's a border patrol medic now in Arizona. He and his wife are the nicest people I ever met, and he's hardcore, man. And
Yeah.
we'd get to like a bottleneck where everything would slow down. And we're like, all right, well, cool, man. Like, let's shut everything down and just lay off for a minute. Let's get a gauge if there's any snipers or anything around looking for us, you know. And so we would turn off all our lights, go into blackout, and we would wait and see if maybe someone would pop up. And you know, and to our detriment, yeah, we're putting ourselves in danger, but for the common good, if we actually get somebody, the truck in front of us is watching, he'll be able to pinpoint who's shooting at me and take them down, you know. So
Yeah.
it's part of the job, and it's something you got to accept. And I didn't mind it. I mean, there was one time my stupid fucking LT had me looking for a bomb he thought was on the side of the road. And halfway through that, I realized, okay, this is not my job. And I called him like, LT, you literally got me driving up and down the road looking for a bomb. I'm like, isn't there a unit that does that?
Looking for you to see the bomb or to hit the bomb and blow up?
To find it, you know. And so
how are you going to find? No. So I just want to know what's his thinking here about getting you to drive up and down to find the bomb. How do you find the bomb other than driving into it and blowing up?
Exactly.
That's it.
Because so some idiot, believe it or not everyone in the military is that bright. Some idiot swore to God he saw a bomb on the side of the road. And so, of course, I'm the go-to guy.
And it's like a tortoise or something, right?
Yeah. It could have been a rock. I mean, there was one time, to this day, there's an E6 out there, this fat fucker that swears to God he saw an IED in the corner of a bridge. I drove by there 3 fucking times. I had 3 other guys eyewitness it for me. They were doves.
So why would he not stop or call that in right away?
Oh, that's what we're supposed to do. If we see something, we would call it in. And
that'd be like me saying, like, you know, hey, last Wednesday, man, I saw a bomb on the side of the street. I need you to take a look, just see if it's back there. You know, be really careful. 7 days ago, there was something over there, man. I gotta tell you.
So,
what kind of
the guy called it in, and they're like, hey, Bob, we got time. You know, why don't your truck drive up and down that area and see if there's actually an IED there? And halfway through it, I started sweating, and I couldn't figure out why I'm sweating. And then I realized why I was sweating. I was like, because this is the fucking dumbest shit I've ever done, man. I mean, I've done some dumb shit.
I found it.
Yeah. So I was like, get off the road. And I called the LT. I was like, look, dude, if there's an IED here, there's a process. We call EOD, tell them the grid coordinates, and they come check. That ain't my job.
No.
You know? So,
no, it's just it's the dumbest way to find it too, man.
But hey, my dumb ass, it took me about 20 minutes to realize I was being fucking stupid, you know. So I'm not exactly this guy either. Like what the fuck am I doing? You know?
Then you bailed, right? You were allowed out afterwards. Yeah, okay.
I got
all right.
There, man.
So we're running out of time. Let's answer this last one right here, and we'll come back to this on the next episode in a couple of days.
Sure.
Would you do it again?
Yeah. Fuck yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So I don't mean like right now, but like a time machine takes you back and you remember everything. Would you go do it again?
Yeah. You know, there's just some things like I'm good at, and there's things that I'm not good at. Right.
Yeah. And this was one thing that you were really good at.
My ex-wife said that, as far as she's concerned, watching me for, I've known her for 20 some years. She said, literally, her quote was, "You're the only guy I know who's most comfortable in stressful situations. And for some reason, you enjoy being in a war zone, even though you're scared shitless. You work well in it, and it's not about that hardcore I'm carrying a gun thing. it's about being around the right guys and you
Yeah.
all watching out for each other. And it's a bond that you make that lasts a lifetime.
Yeah, it's warrior
So,
shit. Yeah, just warrior
And-
shit. And you would like to go and do that. Well, if you had to, would go back and do that again.
Yeah,
That's
I
cool.
would.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Not
I
many would
did-
say that, I don't think, man.
And then and like I said, if I talk to you and I get to know you for 5-10 minutes and you tell me, hey, I'm going to join the military, I could tell you right away if that person's making a good or bad choice, and I'll tell people not to do it. I'm like, no, you won't make it. I'll be like, you won't be able to stomach it. They turn your world upside down.
Yeah.
You have to listen to a lot of assholes that would otherwise be little pricks on the fucking in the real world. You have to listen to them, and you wouldn't like it. Don't do it, you know.
And you see some fucked up shit, and fucked up shit happens to you, man.
Yeah. We seen. I mean, when you see guys that are trained like me and spent a lot of years dedicated to that cause, and you're driving in the middle of the night in Baghdad and a tank gets hit, and what you see is 3 or 4 grown men standing on the side of the road crying because they just lost their friend. I mean, that shit sticks with you forever, you know. So
especially if you see it happen to you, right? You see your friend die and shit, right? Let's
so
you know, I don't want to take all the skeletons out of your closet on a first go right here, right? But we'll get deeper into that as we progress through this series. But that's an incredible fucking story, dude. Thanks for sharing it with us all here. I think this is like at least 2 or 3 episodes. All right, so we'll see you next time.
Break it down, and then like I say, you know, and if anybody wants in the comment section, feel free to ask me any questions. I got the law degree, I got the philosophy degree.
No, we'll get into that later. This episode's army shit. This is army shit right there on this episode.
A lot of all the army shit you want. Just don't ask me if I killed someone. I won't answer you.
Okay, sounds good. Okay, cut.